Hey everyone, today we're diving into a really cool mental model that gets to the bottom of a question we all deal with every single day. Why do we like the things we like? And trust me, this isn't just about taste. It's about the secret navigation system your mind uses to sift through pretty much everything. Let's dive right in.
So just picture it. You're scrolling through Netflix or whatever, and you're just hit with this endless wall of thumbnails. Thousands of movies, thousands of shows. How on earth do you actually pick one? I mean, you're not going to pull out a spreadsheet to crunch the numbers, right?
Well, here's the thing. You don't really think your way to the answer. You don't use pure logic. You feel it. You have a gut feeling, an intuition that just sort of guides you through that ocean of choices. And that feeling, it's way more sophisticated than you might think.
And that leads us right into our first big idea, navigating by feeling. Because that gut instinct we all have, it's not random. It's actually a super advanced navigation system, and you're using it all the time for pretty much every choice you make. You know that feeling when a name is right on the tip of your tongue? You're not just guessing randomly. You're feeling for features. You're thinking, was it a short name? Did it start with an S? You can literally feel when you're getting warmer. It's the exact same process when you're tackling a tough problem or picking out a new book. You're navigating toward an answer by sensing which features feel right.
So, what do we call this mental map we're all using to find our way around? Well, it actually has a name, and that brings us to our next section, the affective feature space.
Okay, let's break that down, because it sounds kind of complex, but it's not. The feature space is basically the map. It's this huge landscape of every possible quality or attribute something could have. And affect, well, that's your compass. It's the emotion, the intuition, the feeling you use to find your way.
A really great way to think about this is like a radar. Your mind is constantly sending out these little pings into that massive feature space. It's scanning for the stuff that feels right, the things that give you a good ping back. And at the same time, it's steering you away from all the features that feel wrong.
And this, right here, gives us a really cool, almost mechanical definition for taste. Taste isn't some mysterious magical thing. It's just your personal calibration. It's the unique settings on your internal radar, tweaked over a lifetime, to lock onto some features and just ignore others. It's your own unique radar signature.
Okay, so now that we've got the theory down, let's see how this thing works in the real world. How do you take a small, niche idea and turn it into a massive blockbuster? That's what we're looking at here, from niche to blockbuster.
So, here's a wild thought for you. The general audience, it doesn't actually exist. It's a myth. What we call the general audience is really just a huge collection of millions of individual radars, all with their own unique settings. Trying to make one thing that appeals to all of them at once, it's basically impossible.
So if that's true, how do you engineer a hit? Simple. You stop trying to please everyone. Instead, you follow these steps. First, you make something that perfectly, and I mean perfectly, hits the radar of a small, specific niche audience. Then, because they love it so much, they become your biggest cheerleaders, and their excitement creates a totally new feature, buzz. And finally, that buzz is a feature that the wider audience is tuned into, and that's what pulls them in.
And this quote from the source material just nails it. You don't write for the masses from the get-go. You write for a very specific niche, because they are the ones who will generate that powerful social proof feature, that buzz that the general audience needs to see before they'll even give it a look.
And the reason this whole strategy works is because it hacks something called the interest coefficient. You can think of this like a perceptual gate in your brain. If something doesn't have features that feel relevant to you, your brain doesn't just ignore it. It might not even register it as new information at all. Buzz basically acts like a key that unlocks that gate for a much, much wider audience.
All right, let's switch gears a bit. We've talked about how we consume ideas, but what about how we create them in the first place? How are brand new ideas even born? This takes us to inventing the impossible. Think about it. How does a creator's brain weigh totally different concepts against each other? Like, how do you compare sharp dialogue with a logical plot? Well, the idea here is that affect, that feeling, is the common currency. The brain kind of melts all these different types of information down into one simple gut check. Does this feel right?
And this is so important because, let's be real, creativity is often about navigating contradictions. On the one hand, you want a story with a fast pace, but on the other, you want deep immersion. You're told to show, don't tell, but sometimes you just need to explain something. These desirable features are often fighting against each other.
And that conflict leads us to a really powerful definition of what invention actually is. It's not about picking one feature over the other. Real, true invention is about finding a clever, new way to resolve that conflict, a way to satisfy both opposing desires at the same time. That's how you break out of the same old solutions and create something genuinely new.
Okay, for our last section, we are zooming all the way out. Because what we've been talking about isn't just a model for stories or for making things. This might actually be a model for the mind itself. Welcome to your brain's operating system.
Now, this is where the model gets really ambitious. The whole affective feature space idea isn't just a neat tool for understanding taste. It could be a fundamental theory for how our brains are organized on the deepest possible level.
And what's so powerful about this is how it suddenly clicks all these different mental processes into place. That tip of the tongue feeling, that's your brain accessing related features even if the main one is weak. Solving a brand new problem? You're just navigating toward a set of features that represent a solution. Even recognizing a chair from a weird angle works because you're locking onto its core features, not just one specific picture of it.
So the big takeaway here is a total shift in how we think about the mind. It's not a computer with a bunch of rigid folders and files. It's more like a flexible, living, interconnected web of features. And the way we navigate that incredible web isn't with cold, hard logic. It's with feeling.
And that leaves us with one final big question to chew on. If your mind really is this vast map, this feature space built from every single one of your experiences, who drew the roads that you travel on? And what new places are out there, just waiting to be discovered?